This is the MGTOW Infinium here with another Infinium Commentary. This Infinium Commentary is entitled Matt Lauer Again. Now, as I watched the TV news in the last couple of days and looked around the internet, a certain man's name came up again, and that man is Matt Lauer. And Matt Lauer is known for his sexual misdeeds and misconduct at NBC. He is known for being fired from NBC because of said behavior. But yet, again, a year or so after the controversy, his name comes up again. And his name comes up again about how terrible he was, how he forced sex on a woman and did this and that and whatever to her. And accordingly, his colleagues had the same year after the fact, how horrified they were about his behavior, how they did not know him, how they worked with him closely, but they did not know him. And accordingly, a year after the fact, NBC is stating how horrified they were at his behavior and how they took steps immediately to fire him and get rid of him. But accordingly, again, this is another symptom of the BS and the hypocrisy of feminism. Because as Matt Lauer is being pulled up again, there's nothing said about people or women like Asia Argento, who is directly responsible for the suicide death of Anthony Bourdain because she had raped a boy. There's nothing said about Andrea Constant, whose testimonies are now being called into question, which her testimonies resulted in the jailing of Bill Cosby. And again, not to support Bill Cosby because he is a known sleazebag. But why should a sleazebag of a male be in jail when a sleazebag of a woman gets to run free? This is the hypocrisy of feminism. And this is the reason why men will not deal with women anymore. And again, I was just looking at some content from Ham in Hand and Sydney MGTOW. And a Monica Ethaway, I believe that is, came up in their content. And she is demanding violence against men because she has stated things like radical steps need to be taken in order to dismantle patriarchy, which includes the use of justifiable violence towards men. But yet, there's no outcry. There's no stating that this is not right. But there is a silence of acceptance from women in general. Again, this shows the hypocrisy of feminism and the hypocrisy of women in general. Because a woman could stand, a rabid feminist could stand up and say such a radical thing to call out for violence against men and have nobody object to it. Not a peep on the internet, not a peep on YouTube. So that is the silence of acceptance. And again, the hypocrisy and the BS of feminism and of women in general. Now again, we have Brittany Pettibone, who is now known as Brittany Sellner, who puts out another video which is just regurgitated BS and garbage about how men are suffering under feminism. These are the problems that feminism is causing with men, blah, blah, blah. But no calls for the changes in the laws of the land. No calls for women to be punished if they falsely accuse a man of rape when he did not do anything to her. No calls for the laws to be changed where man cannot be unfairly divorce raped. No calls. No calls for the laws to be changed where a thought of a woman, a thought of a single mother can put any man's name down on a DNA proof test or whatever you call it, which says that a father is so for her kids. No calls for that to be changed, but only the regurgitated garbage that these are the problems, these are the issues. We've heard that before. And again, just another sign of the hypocrisy and the BS of feminism. There are no solutions coming from the camp of women, coming from the camp of feminism, but just regurgitation. You pull up Matt Lauer's name again. You pull up all the evil things that men do. But what about the evil things that women do? What about the things that women do to men on a daily basis? And then you wonder why, when you're standing in the checkout line and you turn around to a man behind you and you smile at them and you try to start a conversation with them, only to find that he says to turn around and leave me alone. You wonder why men will not date you. You wonder why men will not think about marriage. And you wonder why places like the marital shop down the block from you are going out of business. You wonder why it's hard to find a good man. But you have only yourselves as women, as feminists, to look at in the mirror. You try to blame men for everything that is wrong in this world, but it is your feminism. It is your support of feminism. It is your silence when radical statements are made, like the one I said about Monica, are made. It is your silence when you know things are wrong and you know that your voice would say something, would do something if it was brought before Congress, per se. You know that you would, but you will not do it. You will not do it. And so you have only yourselves to blame. You say for men to get out of the playground, to take up our things to and leave the playground. But you get mad when men do exactly what you want. You say for men to not talk to you, to leave us alone. And then when a man says, leave him alone, you get mad. You have only your hypocrisy to face you in the mirror, because that is what caused these things to happen. And by you not standing up and saying things that, yes, we've heard about Matt Lauer, but let's talk about Asia Argento. Let's talk about Andrea Constant. By you not saying these things, it is silence that agrees with the wrongs. By you regurgitating the problems, this is what's wrong, this is what needs to happen, but not truly giving any type of solutions that would bring the war between men and women to an end, you are the problem. You women, you feminists are the problem. You decry men because you say that we are destroying society. In particular, MGTOW men, you decry us. But it is in actuality, you feminists, you women who stand in silent agreement with these feminists who are destroying society. You have only yourselves to blame. And you need to now stop blaming men for the problems in this society. You need to start looking at what you're doing, because you feminists are destroying yourselves. That's what you're doing. And again, we men, we MGTOW men will not remain on. We will not be enslaved by the feminist plantation state. No matter how much violence you incite against us, how much you threaten us, threaten to change laws, threaten to restrict us, imprison us, we will not do it. And we will continue to be free and walk along the pathway to freedom. You women, again, are the cause of the problem. And there is time now to start pointing the finger at yourself instead of pointing the finger at everybody else. Stop regurgitating things that have happened in the past. Stop overlooking the misdeeds of women. Why don't you talk about the rampant raping of boys by female teachers in this nation, in the US of A? There's no talk of that. There is no discussion about that. Why don't you talk about that? Because it is hypocrisy on your part. You women are destroying yourselves, and you have only yourselves to blame. This is the MGTOW Infinium, and this has been a MGTOW Infinium commentary. Remember, MGTOW is the liberation of men's minds. MGTOW cannot and will not be stopped.